Welcome to The Broken Masterpiece. My name is Kristen, and today we're going to learn how to recover old chairs. Now these are my clients' chairs, and they had no elasticity left, so we need to find out what's underneath to see what we can salvage. First steps first, you're going to take your screwdriver, you're going to unscrew all 4 screws underneath the chair pad. Repeat this step until all 6 chairs are just down to the frame. Set the frames aside and keep them in a clean space because they are in great condition. Now here's the items that you're going to need for this project. Now you're going to start with your screwdriver and you're going to get the batting off. If you don't have the batting like this, then you can just start with the fabric frame. You're going to take off the black sole underneath, and you're going to take your screwdriver and you're going to start wrenching it up and using the leverage of the long screwdriver to start pulling out some of those staples. And as you can see, I'm wearing rubber gardening gloves. These fit my hands really tight, so it makes them really easy to work with, and it makes sure that I don't stab myself in the hand, which I've done before, so please wear gloves. Now here I'm using my long needle nose pliers, and I'm twisting this staple to get it out completely and remove it. When you're working on those tight corners, you're going to keep using the leverage of your screwdriver to get right underneath there. Now, as a working mom, I take my work with me wherever I can. So this project was during the summer, and I had all 3 kids with me, ages 9, 7, and 4. So I took them to the pool, and in my red wagon, I brought all the chair pads. Now, after we got everything off, you can see that this was just a piece of fabric. It has no elasticity. There was no catch on the seat cushion at all, so we need to cut this out and remove it so that we can get some webbing. Now our next step is to cut the foam. I love these 1-inch panels because I don't actually have foam cutters, and if you just have kitchen scissors like me, use the 1-inch, and then you're going to double up your 1-inch when you put them on the chairs. Now when you're cutting your foam, you're going to cut about 1 inch out from the wood frame, and you're going to cut just the shape of the seat. Now I'll come back to the webbing in just a minute, but here's how you cut the fabric. You're going to want 2 inches around each side. And so when you go to Hobby Lobby and you ask them to cut the fabric, bring in 1 chair cushion with you because they will cut it the exact length that you need. So it's awesome, but make sure that you lay all the chair pads out so that you can get at least 2 inches around and you can start your cuts. And when you're cutting, please don't cut your kitten because they like to get in the way and sit on everything. Our cat's name is Kennedy, and right now she thinks she's a dog and has to be everywhere that I am. All right, we are to my favorite part. This was my first time doing this, so do not think that you need to have any advanced skills in order to cover your chairs. This was $15 on Amazon. It is called chair webbing, and it is fantastic. When you are placing it on, just make sure that you put 2 staples at the top of it. Just your good measure is right outside the red. And then you're going to stretch it, then you're going to staple it, and then you're going to cut it. This was the best way that I learned. Don't cut before you actually staple it because it's a little bit tricky to get your fingers out of the way. Now, have you ever seen a picnic basket? You just thread it through. So you go down one way, you go up another. It was really simple, you guys, and you can do this. You are making a chair that when someone sits in it now, it's going to have some pushback and it's going to hold them so they're not sinking into the chair. Now comes the fun part. You're going to get your fabric out. You're going to make sure that the outside is on the outside. You're going to put your 2 1-inch panels together. You're going to put the chair webbing down so that the inside where you stapled is touching the foam. Now this could be the hardest part of chair covering. You have to use your arm strength right now, and you are going to pull in one side. You're going to get your Sure Bonder pneumatic stapler or any stapler that you have, and you are going to place 2 staples. You're going to go to the other side. You're going to pull it so tight, and you're going to place another 2 to 3 staples. Now I'm going to turn it over and check, and I want it to look taut. Now I'm going to go to the other 2 sides, and I am going to stretch it out, and I'm going to pull up, and I'm going to hold it tight and put another 2 to 3 staples. So I'm getting every corner of this chair on the sides so that I can make sure my fabric is really tight, so it creates a really good seat cushion that's not going to wear down over time. When you're done with that part, you want to turn it over, smooth it out, and make sure that you don't have any bubbles or any wrinkles at all. It needs to be very tight. Now I'm going to work towards my corners. So I'm going to work from the staples that I already put in, and I'm going to start pulling that fabric taut, and I'm going to place a few staples out from that center staple. Then I'm going to go to the other side of that, and I'm going to put a few staples in as well. Now I'm going to work on my next side, and I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to work from that center mark, I'm going to go out, I'm going to put those staples in, and work all the way around the chair. Now you get to the corners, which is sometimes the hardest part of this, but you are going to get as close as you can to that corner and make sure that that fabric is pulled up really tight, and I'm going to rotate it here in just a second. Now I'm going to cut off the excess fabric because I know that I don't need it, but if you want to wait until you've already done the corner to cut off that fabric, that's okay too. So I'm going to take my hand on one side of the chair that I know is the back, and I'm going to take it and I'm going to take my fingers and push that fabric in and pull it in, and I'm going to take my other hand with the fabric and I'm going to fold it over. So I'm just creating a fold back there. It's going to be a tiny little tuck, they're hardly going to see it, and it's going to be at the back of the chair. I'm going to make sure that I staple that really well, and then you can cut off any excess fabric if you have it. One corner down and only 4 to go. You've got this. Now there's quite a bit more fabric around a bigger curve like the front of a chair. So you're going to move up towards that corner. You're going to get that fabric as taut as you can. And if you've got any excess foam that you haven't cut too tightly, you can cut that off if it's curving too much, but it should come just around the wood. Now you're going to pull that fabric up taut, and just like we did with the back, you're going to pull it up tight, you're going to staple it in, and then you are going to start bringing the other side of the fabric and you're going to start bending it around so that you can pull that tight and staple that as well. Now the same thing with that back corner. You're going to use your right hand and you're going to tuck in that right side. You're going to bring the left side over and you're going to really pinch it tight. So I'm shoving the right hand under, I'm bringing the left hand over, and I'm pulling it really tight, and then I'm using my staple gun to make sure that it's secure. Now the best part of this is if you mess up, you can always go back to removing your fabric. So get your long screwdriver out, you can lift up some staples, and if you need to redo anything, just use the staples and the long nose needle pliers, and you can get out anything and redo it. So you're going to repeat the back corner and the front corner just like I showed you in those first steps. I'm going to do it really quickly now so we can get to the next step. And there you have it. Your chair pad is complete. It's nice and tight. No one's going to fall through the seat, and it's beautiful. So you're going to put that aside. You're going to do your other 5. Now when you're done with your other 5 seats, you're going to get some black fabric, or really any color that you want. I had this in my craft bin, and so I cut it to size and I stapled it down, and it just gives it a little bit more of a professional look. Now when you're placing your chair cushion back on to be re-screwed in, you're going to make sure that it's even on both sides. So you're going to lay it on, you're going to make sure it's all the way to the back, and you're going to feel on both sides and make sure it's the same width apart. You're going to put your screws in, you're going to get your screwdriver, you're going to secure it back, one screw at a time. Now, you get to be so proud of yourself. You just recovered a chair. You just saved it for another 100 years of being put to use at a dining room table. My client is so happy. Thanks for joining. And if you've made it this far, please click like and subscribe and comment below to let me know how your project went. And make sure to find me on Instagram and interact with me there.